questions for Coach, we have mics on both sides. Just raise your hand and we'll get one over to you.
Brandon, it seems like the appropriate question to ask for the event. What do you expect, and where do you want your team to set expectations going into the season?
Honestly, we haven't really talked about expectations or goals at this point. I think we have a closed scrimmage on Sunday that I think we're all really looking forward to. Just the opportunity to go against somebody else and learn a little bit more about each other and get some film outside of practice film. And then I think as we get closer to the Fort Hays exhibition, we'll start having those discussions. But I hope our expectations are really high.
And then with regard to that, the added depth that you have with newcomers and then returning talent, how has that played out in practice? How has that helped improve you guys, all that stuff so far?
I would say most recently, there's evidence of it in that, we had fall break and our male practice players were, I don't know, in Vegas or wherever they go. And so, really went against each other a lot, and to have the kind of depth to be able to do that was really refreshing.
Coach, you've got those 4 games on national television this year. Just working in with recruiting and all this and program, I guess you could say just program aura, I guess would be a word for it. Do you think that plays in at all?
Well, I'd like to have more of them at home of the 4, but I think any time that you can be on national TV, regardless of where the contest is held, it's an opportunity to showcase not only your program but Kansas athletics and KU in general.
You mentioned expectations should be pretty high for this group. 6 in the preseason poll. Where does that sort of go with your
I think it is what it is. I'm not sure why we even do preseason polls anymore because I know I had to turn one in, but I don't even know who the hell's on anybody's roster, to be quite honest. And we had teams that didn't post their roster until maybe 2 days before that poll was done. So I think it's pretty difficult. But I want to finish higher than that, if that helps you.
Can you talk a little bit about the way this recruiting class came together and sort of what you've seen from the freshmen so far?
Yeah, it's a class we're really excited about. I think, I think it really pairs well with our returners. And I think even with the last addition in Lily Meister, I thought that she was a player that was really going to pair well with our other frontline players, and particularly Julia Davis and Reagan Williams. And that's so far proven to be correct. But I think, hopefully there's just a domino effect. I know that obviously when we signed Samaya a couple of years ago, that played a big factor in attracting, more high caliber players, but most importantly, local. And that's where we really like to continue to be really competitive is local recruiting.
Mo was saying that one of the strengths of the class was how switchable they are defensively and how they can sort of guard up and guard down without, sort of a 6'6" center on this team. What kind of value can they bring?
Yeah, I mean, there's things we don't have on our roster, and those things are not hard to spot. We don't have a 6'6" Tiana Jackson rim protector, but I think one of the things that people who have come and watched us practice immediately notice just our overall team length, and we're hoping that we can, make that work to our benefit.
Coach, you had a significant scout on Julia since she was local. Since she's arrived, what element of her game pleasantly surprises you, whether it be passing, inside, outside presence?
Well, she's a terrific passer. I think can really run the floor, can rebound. Is really good around the rim. But I think where she's grown tremendously already is stretching her game. Not just to the high post, but beyond. I think she's so much more comfortable um, in some perimeter situations. But the thing that impresses me the most is she has a plan the minute she walks in the gym as to what she wants to get accomplished in what we call pre-practice. And that is very rare for a young player to walk in and immediately get to work. And that's exciting.
Keely and Livy, I know they've been banged up a little bit, but now that you've seen them play, what kind of impact do you see them, particularly from perimeter shooting?
I think they're both elite 3-point shooters. I think they can really stretch the defense. But they've shown in our practices that they're more than that. They can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim and get the ball in the paint. They can make plays for others. Our expectations, I would say, David, are the same as when we signed them. We expect them to come in and contribute immediately.
In talking about Willie, you mentioned how her skill set maybe complements the other forwards. How do you see those three all sort of comparing and contrasting with each other and fitting together?
Well, Lily's an exceptional passer, and I think that she's proven to be a really good perimeter shooter and has shot the three really well. Shot the three really well in practice. So I just think that from a matchup perspective, teams are going to have some decisions to make, as to who they're going to play, on our frontline players, just relative to what their individual skill sets are.
And then how has Tati done this offseason?
Tati is maybe our most improved player from the time that she stepped on campus. Maybe that was June 2nd to now. She has just been a tireless worker. She has incredible energy. We track their movement and all those different things every day with the technology we have. And her output is by far and away the highest of any player on our team every day. She just plays incredibly hard every single possession.
Coach, when you have a player like Samaya, how does she play it? How does she work with some of the newcomers, the transfers and the freshmen, and helping them develop, helping them get used to Lawrence and KU in general?
Well, and you've probably heard me say this before, but when our veterans were making some decisions as to where they were going to live in the off season, we allowed them to live off campus as juniors. And I asked Samaya, I said, "Hey, what do you think you're going to do?" And she says, "Well, I'm staying on campus. I need to be there for the freshmen." I think that's a pretty good indicator as to what her mindset is, as a leader and a teammate. But I also think the entire summer she spent just trying to make people better. She wasn't near as aggressive in our practices as what we hope her to be in games, because I think she was really trying to keep everybody involved. In fact, a couple of days ago, at the end of a practice, I challenged her in front of the team that, hey, it's time now to crank it up and go be you as we get closer and closer to playing games.
You talked about preseason polls. Do you think other coaches in the Big 12 hold your same perspective on how viable those are?
We're probably split. We have Big 12 meetings, and those are things that we talk about. I think this is just my opinion. I think it hurts, teams that are picked, at or around the bottom. This is a prime recruiting time right now. Signing day is coming up in less than a month. and you're trying to sign good players, and then it comes out that you're picked, 14th, 15th in the league. How does that help anybody? That's just my opinion.
Anything else for Brandon? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.